here at the Open Mobile Summit and pleased to be joined by Chris Ullrich. He is the VP of User Experience at Immersion. And Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
First, if you could tell us just briefly about your role at Immersion.
So I'm the Vice President of User Experience at Immersion. My role is to create and identify and innovate new possibilities for having touch feedback in human-computer interactions. So Immersion is a company that's been around for over 20 years. We have a dominant position in the ability to enable touch feedback in computer devices. So we're very prominent in gaming, where our technology is found in game controllers like the PlayStation, Xbox, DualShock controllers, joystick, steering wheel. We also have a huge install base of Android mobile phones that use our TouchSense technology to enable touch feedback for keyboard confirmation effects, amongst others. And so my job at Immersion is to try to inspire and innovate and create new ways to use that technology so that users can get more value out of touch feedback in their interactions with consumer electronics.
So and then we talk about video games. Clearly, if you're driving down the road on the video game and you hit bumps in the road, or you're going to wreck, you feel the steering wheel shaking, or you're the goalie in penalty kicks and they want to make you nervous, so you feel the rumble. That makes total sense. How is it more applicable in the real world with mobile? You talk about confirmation on a virtual keyboard, but what other applications can we expect to see it in?
Sure. So one of the growth areas in mobile, obviously, is the use of mobile for gaming, and so there's a logical carryover that goes from our gaming background, and people are playing short versions of demo versions of console games on their mobile devices. They're playing new novel kinds of games on mobile devices, and so adding that sense of feedback is an obvious extension of our technology. And since we're already on that platform, it's quite straightforward for developers to enable it and use that technology. The area that we're sort of more interested in or engaging or growing in right now is the notion of mobile video and being able to enhance the mobile video viewing experience by adding a tactile component to it to help enhance the base sensation of the video or to create an attentional focus for users. So if you're watching an advertisement, say, on a mobile device, a mobile video ad, and there's some haptic effects or some tactile effects in there that are causing you to focus or draw your attention into that ad in some way, we think that adds a lot of value to the mobile viewing experience for video. And so we're very focused on trying to enable that ecosystem to use that third human sense to create more value for their offerings.
And it's sort of more theatrical is a word that you've used to describe how this is. And so basically, if you're watching a movie or whatever you happen to be, whether it's a YouTube video, maybe that's not as theatrical, depending on what it is. I mean, maybe you're watching an indie documentary or something, but versus some of the other streaming services, they could access this, but obviously then this is where your revenue opportunities come in, right? Because they would need to license your software. The hardware would be fully capable of adding this to the subwoofer, this theatrical effect.
Yeah, that's correct. Immersion has a very long-standing business in licensing its touch feedback technology to mobile OEMs. So for example, Samsung has been our customer since at least 2006 or 2005 timeframe. LG, Motorola, these are all our customers, and they use our technology in their mobile products.
Right.
And so there's already a huge install base, mostly around this touchscreen confirmation scenario that I described earlier. It's already present in the devices. And so Immersion is now creating a middle technology layer, a software SDK, a business opportunity for companies like Netflix or ad services or video streaming services who can use that latent technology to enhance and improve the quality of experience on those devices.
So right now people are watching it, and there's not a great deal of competition, although it's growing. You've got the Netflix, you've got HBO Go, you've got other people coming onto the scene. When do they, and maybe you could talk to this maybe from your own company's experience, when does they start adding these bells and whistles? When do they feel like they need to make it more theatrical? Right now people are watching it because they can, it's new and it's novel, but at some point they're probably going to need to make it a richer experience to keep people engaged.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think from our perspective, the sort of baseline is if you have content that already has a strong subwoofer component, a strong sense of theatrical presence when you view it in a theater, that content is pretty straightforward to move over to a mobile platform. However, it seems to Immersion that there's a creative potential in the medium, which is greater than just that kind of base enhancement. What we're thinking is, you can use it to drive a novel narrative component. You can highlight, you can accentuate, you can focus people's awareness on different parts of the scene, and as a director or producer of content, you can use that to enhance, to make a new kind of content experiences possible.
What else? You talk about games, you talk about movies, video content. Where else are the growth opportunities for businesses such as yours?
Sure. So we play in a lot of different businesses, not just mobile, and mobile is obviously a huge big area for us. One of the most obvious growth areas for Immersion is in China, which is a hugely growing mobile phone market that's moving up from feature phones into smartphones. And so in a sort of straightforward business sense, there's a growth opportunity around us getting more installed base in China. We recently launched
with hardware.
With hardware. We recently launched with Xiaomi, which is a very popular handset maker in China. We're now moving into that market more aggressively. I think in terms of value-added features, we also have to look at other markets, like for example, auto is an area where we see a huge increase in the number of touch screens present in the center stack of a vehicle. And our own research, our own investigations have shown that actually having haptic feedback or having touch feedback in those touch screens, as sort of common as that may be, is a safety consideration. It improves people's ability to focus on the road. It reduces their glance time off the road.
How does it work?
So basically when you touch a touch screen and you're playing with the radio or doing whatever you're doing, you're not supposed to be doing that while you're driving, the tactile feedback will give you the confirmation that you've actually touched something, and it might tell you a little bit about what you've touched.
Okay.
So if you're dialing a number, maybe the 5 key feels a little bit different, and so you know that you're sort of generally doing the right kind of thing, and you can keep your eyes more focused on the road and less focused on paying attention to the task you're doing on the touchscreen.
So yeah, hopefully watching the road. Does this kind of technology, does it work better on the tablet than the phone? Are you seeing a differentiation there? Because it seems like, the particularly the video would be more naturally suited to a tablet.
I think for video it depends a little bit on the duration, right? So what we see is that on tablets people watch a more long form content video, and so in that case you're talking more about the theatrical experience. You're talking about making it a richer, more immersive experience on a tablet. On a smartphone, people are watching a lot more short form content, mobile video ads, YouTube kind of content, that kind of thing. And in that situation, the attentional stuff where you're trying to highlight, oh, this is where my cat fell off the couch, that kind of thing, those are the elements where you might have a value add for putting tactile feedback in the video content.
So what about advertising? It seems like that could be a potential use there. Are you exploring that, and are we seeing haptics coming more into advertising, particularly in mobile?
I think for us that's probably the nearest term growth opportunity. Is a lot of companies are trying to figure out what's the right thing to do around mobile with their ad products. Is it just a straightforward carryover from their broadcast products? Is it some interactive thing they have to custom design? And I think the value that we see in having greater attention, greater focus, greater awareness by adding tactile feedback makes the mobile platform a novel ad target.
How would it work?
It would be similar to what I described. So in a mobile video scenario, you're talking about adding some tactile effects inside the video, inside the advertisement to highlight the brand, to highlight some event in the ad, so that people are focusing on, oh, this is this brand is the one I should pay attention to. And we know that people, it's actually hard for humans to ignore tactile feedback, especially when it comes out of nowhere. And so there's this property of attention that you can cause people to, oh, here's my brand, focus on it now.
Right, yeah, because it's easier to just tune out, the voiceover in the background.
Exactly.
Can become so much noise, but the jarring feeling in your hands, I guess, sort of snaps you to attention, which makes me wonder, what's the highest barrier here? I mean, you can imagine that if it happens too often in an ad, it becomes overbearing and something annoying, and people, it will lose its effect.
Sure.
But what's the biggest barrier for a company like you in getting adoption of your technology?
I think there's twofold. I mean, that's exactly true, is that you don't want to overdo tactile feedback. It can be annoying if done improperly, and we've certainly seen that be the case. So there has to be an aesthetic which is defined, which people understand that this is the right amount, this is the right way to use it, this is the way that actually adds to the experience instead of subtracting from it. That's something that we're working on. We're working on with various creative partners right now to try to lock that down. I think in terms of getting engaged in the market, what Immersion is really looking for is a few high volume, mass size partners who know that side of the market. Because Immersion, we know tactile feedback, we know haptics, we know all about how that should work, but we are not an advertising agency.
So we need to be married with a digital ad agency.
Exactly. That's the logical connection that creates a high value offering.
All right. Well, Chris Ullrich, thanks so much for joining us from Immersion.
Thank you.